Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Chef Vic Cuisine. Today, we're making one of my favorite desserts, Creme Brulee. With these simple ingredients, you're about to make one amazing dish. So, let's get started.
Alright, so for the ingredients, you're going to need 2 cups of heavy cream, 1/3 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of granulated white sugar, and that's going to be divided in half for this recipe. You're going to need half of a vanilla bean, 4 large egg yolks, and then just a dash of kosher salt. And then for the topping of the creme brulee, you're going to need about 3/8 cup of sugar plus an additional for coating purposes. Alright, so to get things started, you're going to take your 4 large egg yolks and put them into a large size bowl. And then you want to add half of the total sugar you need for the recipe to this bowl. And then you just want to whisk that all together until it's well combined, and then don't forget to add a dash or 2 of kosher salt to this as well. And then you just want to whisk that all together and set it aside. Now, while you prepare the rest of the ingredients, you want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 149 degrees Celsius. And separately, you want to bring a medium-sized to a large-sized pot of water to boil. You're going to use that for baking the creme brulee. So for the vanilla bean, you want to work with just about half a vanilla bean. That's pretty much all the flavor you're going to need for this recipe. And you just want to carefully scrape out the vanilla bean seeds, and you're going to use those in the cream mixture. And don't throw away the pod of the vanilla bean, you're going to use that as well. So in a medium saucepan or pot, you want to mix the heavy cream and the remaining half of the sugar together. So that's going to be about 1/6 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now you want to add the vanilla bean seeds and the pod to the pot and whisk that all together, and you want to heat the pot over medium heat or about 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius, just until the mixture starts to bubble around the edge and somewhat in the middle. And this is going to take about 6 to 7 minutes. And you definitely don't want this mixture to come to a roiling boil, so keep an eye out on it. And like I said, this should only take about 6 to 7 minutes for it to heat up. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell notification to be notified when my next video drops. And stay tuned to the end of this video for a sneak peek of the recipe coming next week. So after about 6 to 7 minutes, you can start to see the steam come from the pot and a slow rumble on the top surface of the cream. That's what you're looking for before you start the next step of the recipe. Now you want to take your egg mixture that you whisked up before and just go ahead and whisk that about a little bit before we're about to start tempering the eggs. So what you want to do is use a ladle to pour a small amount of the hot cream mixture into the egg mixture while constantly whisking the egg mixture when you pour the cream inside. This is called tempering, and it prevents the eggs from curdling from the heat of the cream. So make sure that when you're adding the hot cream to the eggs, you're constantly whisking it. You want to go ahead and add a few more ladles of cream to the egg mixture just so it gets the entire egg and cream mixture up to the same temperature. And then after that, you can go ahead and gradually whisk in the remaining cream mixture. So now what you want to do is strain this combined custard through a fine sieve into a large liquid measuring cup to remove the vanilla pod and any cooked bits of egg that you may find. So now what you want to do is to divide the custard evenly among the baking dishes using a ladle or the same measuring cup you poured into. And for this recipe, I'm using 4 5-ounce baking ramekins. And you want to put them in either a large deep dish pan, a lasagna pan, or something oven safe that's about the same height or taller than the ramekin itself. So for this next step, I feel like the safest way to do this is to first start off by putting the deep dish pan that contains the ramekins inside the oven. And you just want to go ahead and pull the tray out so that you have easy access to the pan itself. Now, you want to very carefully pour the boiling water that you were boiling earlier into the deep dish pan. You just want to make sure that the boiling water reaches about the height or a little lower than the height of the custard within the ramekins. Just make sure that you don't pour so much water that it starts to overflow into the ramekins. That will ruin the final result of your creme brulee, trust me. So this hot water bath is crucial in creating the texture that you're looking for in your custard for your creme brulee. So it's a step you can't skip. And feel free to use smaller dishes or bowls to house the ramekins in for the water bath. And also feel free to slowly ladle in the hot water a bit of a time into whatever dish you're using to surround the ramekins with. I've just made this creme brulee so many times now. I know how to properly pour in the hot water without risking injury. So for all of you trying this recipe at home, just take extra precaution while pouring in the hot water to whatever dish you're using to surround the ramekins for the hot water bath. And sometimes, like in my video, the water that you boil won't be enough to first completely cover the height of the custard in the ramekin, so you can always pour additional room temperature water until the surface of the water comes up to the level of the custard in the ramekin. And the water should not reach the top edge of the ramekins, nor should, for that matter, the custards reach the top surface of the ramekin as well. So once the hot water bath is set, you want to go ahead and carefully push the oven tray back into the oven. And you want to bake the custards for about 40 minutes at 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 149 degrees Celsius. And this is about the amount of time you'll need for the custards to set. And I think I've mentioned this in my earlier videos, but if not, I know I mentioned in my cookbook. My temperature estimates and my baking times are all based on using an electric oven. You know, gas ovens cook a little longer sometimes, so you always want to monitor your food. But the way to tell that your custards are done is that the custards after baking should only have a slight wobble when lightly shaken or tapped on the side in comparison to the wobble of the surrounding water. So once your custards are set, you want to carefully remove the pan from the oven. And you want to use oven mitts or secure tongs to carefully remove the ramekins from the hot water bath, and then place the ramekins on a wire rack for about 30 minutes to cool down to room temperature. After about 30 minutes, you want to cover the ramekins with plastic wrap and allow them all to chill for at least 2 hours in the fridge before serving. The custard will finish setting in the refrigerator. And if your custard has a slight caramelization on the top, that's fine. You're looking for a clear to only slightly caramelized top surface for your custard. And that's when you know it's going to have a perfect texture. And so after the 2 hours for the ramekins to chill, here comes everyone's favorite part about making creme brulee, creating that crunchy, golden top coat of caramelized sugar. So I'm going to work with one ramekin at a time to show you the process. You want to sprinkle enough granulated white sugar to create a thin coat of sugar over each custard. And this should take about 3 tablespoons worth of sugar for each, if you're using a 5-ounce baking ramekin. So you want to go ahead and turn the ramekin slightly around and tap the sides just to make sure that the sugar on top has a chance to evenly spread across the top surface. Now, using a kitchen torch, you want to pass the flame of the torch in a circular motion about 1 to 2 inches above the surface of each custard until the sugar bubbles, turns golden or amber, and then forms a smooth surface. Now, don't hold the torch over a certain area for too long or you'll burn the sugar too much. And I know everyone likes their creme brulee top coat a little different. Some people like a lot of the burnt taste of the caramel. Me, myself, I like more of the smooth, lighter, just caramelized top coat. but having hints of that dark amber colored caramelization can really bring out some great flavors. So you want to go ahead and repeat the process for the remaining ramekins. Just making sure that you're always moving the kitchen torch in a circular motion about 1 or 2 inches above the surface of the custard. And I know kitchen torches aren't normally a common kitchen item. I found mine at Walmart, and you can also find them at your local kitchen stores. They're not that hard to find. And for those that don't want to use a kitchen torch, there's always an option of broiling the top surface of the creme brulee. So my broiler's temperature is set at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure if everyone's oven is set to the same default temperature, but that's what I cook at with mine. And basically all you have to do is set your ramekins on the highest tray available in your oven, and then broil them for about 5 minutes until the sugar on top caramelizes. I don't recommend this option, however, because one, it offers much less control in how intense the caramelization is on the top surface, and two, it also starts to overcook the custard underneath. And if you want to say you made a Chef Vic Cuisine creme brulee, you'll use a kitchen torch. And so you want to serve the creme brulee shortly after caramelizing the tops. And for all you ASMR lovers out there, here's the sound of an authentic Chef Vic Cuisine creme brulee. And just like that, you've made your very own creme brulee right at home. Hands down, this is my favorite dessert in all of my cookbook. And you will truly impress yourself after creating this masterpiece. And I have people in my family that don't even like creme brulee, but once they tried mine, they fell in love. And so for garnishment, you can always go with some mint leaves and fresh blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries. And even for the sugar topping itself, you can go with a combination of raw sugar as well as granulated white sugar, or mix it up a bit. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite topping is for your creme brulee. As always, this recipe and many more can be found in my cookbook, Chef Vic Cuisine, Volume 1, Finding Your Inner Chef. And that's available on Amazon, and I'll be sure to leave a link to that in the description box. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell notification to be notified when my next video drops. And stay tuned for next week, where I show you how to make my garlic herb roasted salmon. It's so good and so quick to make, you don't want to miss this one. Well, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week on another episode of Chef Vic Cuisine. And until then, peace.